This video is sponsored by Skillshare. More on them later. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in this video we will be making a Starry Night / galaxy type fawn, and it's really cute and I absolutely love it, and I wanted to share how I made this with you guys. So to jump right into it, the first step is to sculpt the head and feet. I first start with a lump of tinfoil that I've squashed into the rough head shape that I'm going for, and I do this for a few reasons. The first being it is going to save me clay, especially with a head this size. Is really important to use the tinfoil to save me clay, and also just to make the head a lot lighter. Guys, my phone started vibrating and it scared me. Oh god. Okay, back to what I was saying. Make the head lighter. It'll also bake more evenly in the oven since it's not a giant chunk of clay. If it was a giant chunk of clay, there's a good chance that it won't bake all the way through, and so when you use a tinfoil as a base, it'll bake more evenly and all throughout your piece, so you don't have any risk of cracking or breakages. Breakage. Yeah. I'm on it today. So once I have the tinfoil squished into the rough head shape that I'm going for, I cover it in one layer of clay. And this clay I'm using is Super Sculpey Medium, but you can use any type of polymer clay that you would like. You can use the white original Super Sculpey, you can use Super Sculpey, you can use Super Sculpey Firm, you can use Primo, you can use Fimo. There's just dozens of different brands that you can use, and as long as it's polymer clay, you're good. I wouldn't suggest air dry clay. I know a lot of you have been asking about air dry clay, but I just don't think it's structurally sound enough for this type of art. Maybe just normal sculpture, sure, but because these are going to be moving so much and going to be interacted with, I don't think air dry clay is a good viable option. I would stick to polymer clay. For this one, I did want to go for more of a stylized type head, more cutesy, but even still, I'm using references. As I always say, references, people. You will need references for whatever you are making. They will always help you to see something that you are not seeing. They will help you to look at different angles of your sculpture to help make sure everything is in the right place where it should be. Even fantasy, you can get inspiration and use that as a reference. There's no downside to using references. So references, people. I always forget to mention this, but once I'm done sculpting the head, I bake it in the oven at 275 degrees Fahrenheit for roughly 45 minutes. I always forget to tell you guys what to bake it at. What kind of teacher am I? What's wrong with me? Because I want the hooves to be very durable and sturdy, I'm going to be using Instamorph to make them. And Instamorph is these plastic pellets that you melt in very hot water and they become moldable. And you can shape it into any shape you want, and once it like cools off, it turns back into a super hard plastic. So it's very durable. It's perfect for like simple hooves like these, claws, horns. I wouldn't sculpt like a full piece out of this, definitely not, because you just can't really get that kind of detail in it. But for things that are bumped very easy, it's perfect for. Just make sure that when you guys are using it to be extra careful, because it is, again, super hot water that you need to put the Instamorph into. And I don't want you guys burning yourself, so be careful. Armature, it is time to build up the body. And to do this, I use Quilt Batting. It comes in these big long sheets that you can buy from any craft stores, and like even Walmart sells it, so it's pretty readily available. I cut it into these strips and I'll wrap it around the body over and over and over until it's built up to how thick I want it. Now you do have to keep in mind, don't build it up as thick as you actually want the body to be, because whatever fabric you're going to be using, especially fur fabric, is going to add quite a bit of girth to it. So just make sure that when you guys are building up the body, you do it just a little bit thinner than what you actually want, so that you leave a little bit of wiggle room for your fabric. Once the body is built up, it's time to cut out the fabric. And to do this, I lay the sculpture stomach side up and cut the entire length of the sculpture. I then cut slits where I want the legs to slide through the fabric, and then just make sure that it's nice and tight around the body, trim off any of the excess, and then just sew straight down the middle. It's really hard to explain what I'm doing, but the video hopefully shows it a little bit better, because I'm horrible at making patterns, and so I just have kind of a go for it method where I'm just like, we just gonna do it. We're gonna see what happens. That's literally my method. So don't think that you need to know fancy patterns or how to use a sewing machine to get started. You can literally just go for it. And while I'm sewing this fawn up, I'd like to talk to you about this video's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes for curious and creative people. Being super affordable at less than $10 a month with an annual subscription, and featuring a wide selection of classes ranging from photography, film, crafts, animations, and tons more. And they vary on skill levels, so you'll always be able to find something that encourages your growth. Want to learn how to be productive? Got it. Want to learn painting? Got it. Want to learn how to price your work when you decide to sell, or how to sell it? Got that and that. Learn how to sew because it can be very confusing? Skillshare got you. Personally, I've been interested in drawing again, so I've been looking up classes for Procreate, and I found a very good one called Intro to Procreate by Brooke Glazer, and it has been super helpful in showing me the basics, but also has been really good in teaching me tricks and hidden features that I would have missed otherwise. So if you'd like to start learning today, the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get a 2-month free, let me say that again, 2-month free trial of premium membership so you can explore your creativity. And thank you once again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. The process is similar for the limbs. I'll just cut a piece of fabric the entire length of the leg, and then I'll trim it so it's nice and snug. I'll sew from the feet and working my way up towards the body, and to join the two fabrics together, I will use a ladder stitch. Because I've made the decision to fur the face, I'm not too worried about painting, but I do want to make sure that none of the white shows through when I'm furring, so I'm painting it all the blue color of the fur. So that way, none of the white will show through when I fur it. If anyone is interested, I do have videos and teach how to fur on my Patreon. I'll leave links for that in the description. Once I've sewn everything finally and the head is furred, it is time to trim up the body. And to do that, I am using a pet shaver, and I highly recommend one of these. It just makes the process so much faster, so much easier. The results are a lot better if you're using your own scissors. Now, that being said, you can use your own scissors. It is entirely possible, and that is what I started with, but I would recommend a pet shaver if you have the extra funds to get one. It just makes everything so much easier. It just trims everything nice and smooth. There's no jagged spots or anything like that. You get different sizes of guards, that's what they're called, guards, so you can trim your fur down to different lengths that you want. It's just, I just love it. But even still, as much as I love it, I still need to go back, especially like on the legs and on the head when I fur faces, and use scissors just to make sure I get really in there and get it exactly how I want, because some things the pet shaver just can't reach or just can't do. So you always want to make sure, even with a pet shaver, to go back with your scissors and just neaten up anything that you might have missed. Next is airbrushing, and I use a dual action gravity feed airbrush, which is just fancy talk for an airbrush where you put paint in from the top. I do want to make a dedicated airbrush video at some point, so if you guys have any specific questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. Am I the only one who thinks the deer looks a little crazed in this position? Just staring at you like, hey. But I'm just showing you guys some extra painting that I did to paint the inner ears and to paint the gold of the eyes. And I just used normal acrylic paints to do this. it wouldn't be a complete Starry Night Fawn without stars. And I just bought a bunch of different stars in so many different sizes and just painted that all gold. And now I'm just gluing them onto the body, and there's no right or wrong way to do this. I'm just doing whatever feels right, putting a little star here, a big star there, and I'm just having fun with it. This is like one of my favorite things to do on an art doll, is to just like add flowers, add stars, just add stuff onto the body to just make it more complete. I love it. So don't feel like you need to like have a specific pattern. You just go with the flow and go with what feels right. And then there's no wrong way to do it. You guys rock. Last minute, I did decide to add gold chains to finish it up, but I forgot to film that, sorry. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and sticking around this long. And don't forget, if you'd like to take advantage of the offer, the Skillshare links are going to be in the description, the first line for you guys. And I just want to give a quick shout out and thank you to all my Patreons, especially during these weird times. I really appreciate your guys' support, so thank you very much. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!